To something new we're doing as part of our NBC News coverage of the 2024 election. We're excited to roll out this new initiative. It's called the Deciders. What we're going to see here throughout the year is that we will have our reporting teams on the ground consistently in 7 key counties, talking to the people, looking at the issues that will both define this election and hopefully explain this election. I'm joined now by correspondents who are part of this initiative. Shaikh Brewster is in Dane County, Wisconsin, and Marissa Parra is in Miami-Dade County, Florida. So, Shaikh, you're following specifically how Democrats in Dane County, a very Democratic county, are feeling going into 2024. Why is this county so important for us trying to read the Democratic headwinds, and how are the voters there feeling as we start to turn the page into an election year?
Yeah, this county is important because of a key word, and that's enthusiasm. It's important for Democrats and the Democratic Party base to be enthusiastic as they're going into an election. And here in Dane County, you have a high concentration of young voters, progressive voters, college-educated voters, voters who turn out in elections and have turned out here in Wisconsin. Back in 2020, you saw a 90% voter turnout in this county, and it's a place where 3 out of every 4 voters ended up backing Joe Biden. So enthusiasm matters, and that's why we're here to measure how folks are feeling about this election and the upcoming likely matchup. Listen to what they told me about that.
Just give me the emotion that you have in looking at your choice this election.
Not enthused. I'd say overall I feel very pragmatic and strategic about it.
All of these issues that are popular with Democrats, he has not only not addressed, but often gone the entire opposite way on. I mean, I can look at like almost every issue in my head that's important to me, and I see a failure on Biden's part.
You can say that Joe Biden's, he's not as progressive as you'd like, or he's not this, he's too old. I mean, the guy is at least reasonable and has some sort of logic to what he does and understands the basics of, I guess, how to be a president in some ways.
Even if I'm not enthused to, effectively elect my grandpa a second time, boy, do I want to keep the other guy out.
If the election were tomorrow, what would you do?
I don't think I'd.
Wow, wow, wow. When you see these young adults and you see the manner in which they're speaking, I mean, they're just so, the virtue signaling, the elitism, comes right out of these progressives. And then you take a look at this young lady over here. Now, it's very possible maybe she's, immunocompromised, maybe she's sick and she didn't want to spread her germs. Okay, fine. But more than likely, if I had to guess, because you're in Wisconsin there in Dane County, I'd guess college student and just one of those people that think that the world's about to end or will end, and that's why she needs to cover up her face, no matter what. I mean, these kids are, the way that they're framing the whole outcome, my grandfather, at least he knows how to be a president, at least he knows how to do things. Sometimes you wonder, what are they smoking out there in Wisconsin, in Dane County? Anyways, let's continue.
I still couldn't, obviously I could not bring myself to vote for Trump, but it would be the first time, I think, if I had to choose tomorrow, it would be the first time I think I'd vote for someone else, like third party.
Now, the Biden campaign is almost saying, wait, it is early. There's still a lot of time before the election. They also say that they are focused on many voter groups, that they know they have to win them over, and that they're already making investments specifically toward young voters. But that's just an example of why we're focusing on a county like Dane County, because we can measure and track how those voter sentiments are changing as we get closer to Election Day, Garrett.
Great stuff, Shaikh, and I'm just glad we sent you to the coldest county so we can keep up our tradition of Shaikh Brewster in miserably cold places.
I find my way inside.
All right, well, Shaikh Brewster, thank you for that reporting inside today. Marissa, you got the other end of that coin. You're in the always relevant Miami-Dade County down in Florida, home state of not one but 2 Republican presidential candidates. What are we watching for in that county headed into next year?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why Miami-Dade is an interesting place, an interesting county to watch for 2024, and not just because of the Hispanic population, one that is diverse at that, but also because everyone's question is whether or not the 2022 midterm results were a fluke or a sign of what's to come. I want to show you the voting trends, those numbers from 2012 to 2022, because you can see the Democratic erosion in those numbers. What you see is a boost of support for former President Trump after he got elected, and that is significant between 2016 and 2020. And then you can see former Florida Governor Ron DeSantis winning with over 55 percentage points, in large part both of those gains because of Hispanic support. And these are gains, by the way, that the Republican Party has not seen in decades, since 2002 with Florida Governor Bush. So among the many things that we're keeping an eye on here, we're keeping an eye on the population changes. We're talking about, we know the Hispanic.
Did she just say Florida Governor Bush? I think she said Florida Governor Bush. Let's go back and see.
Has not seen in decades, since 2002 with Florida Governor Bush. So
yep, she said it. Florida Governor Bush.
Eye on here, we're keeping an eye on the population changes. We're talking about, we know the Hispanic population here, roughly 70% identifies as Hispanic or Latino here, but half of that population is Cuban. There's a whole other half there that often gets neglected, often, not always. And what we're looking at is how effective it is when campaigns do reach out to the Venezuelans, to the Colombians, Chileans. We're also looking at the young population. This is one of the fastest growing ethnic voting groups in the country, right up there with Asian Americans, Garrett. And so we're looking at young Latinos as they turn 18. How are they going to vote? Are they going to trend progressive as is projected? And so we know that these are places. Miami-Dade is a place that many campaigns have spent a lot of time in, Garrett, in very different ways, both in English and Spanish, billboards, radio, TV. We're looking at how they're targeting their target audience, which part of the Hispanic population they're targeting, and how effective that is over this next year.
Marissa, it's going to be fascinating to watch. Marissa, Shaikh, thank you both. And we're going to be following these these key counties throughout the 2024 election year under the Deciders banner. Keep an eye out for that.
So these are the key counties to watch. There's a couple of others, but these are the main 7 to take a look at. As we take a look at the whole sphere of what's going to happen across the fruited plains, so to speak. But one thing to remember here, folks, Miami-Dade County, there's been a shift that was, as you saw in the percentages before, there was a huge shift where it was plus Democrat D, basically, 27, up in the 20s, up in the 30s. Trump eroded that. And then when DeSantis came in, just completely decimated that. And where Florida used to be sort of purplish, let's say teetering on, going blue, DeSantis came in, and that whole sweep, Trump started the tsunami, DeSantis rode in on it, and literally, like I said, has now put that firmly as Florida being red. The same thing we can say for Ohio. They talk about Cuyahoga County. The same thing in Ohio, where it used to be one of those things where, and they said, no Republican ever won the presidency without winning Ohio. Well, that happened, unfortunately, when Trump won Ohio, but we all know what happened in the other states. But Trump won Ohio, should have won the presidency. And then you've got Ohio, as I said before, was teetering on, that purplish, because of that one county, depending upon the concentration of Democratic voters there. And then obviously the rural parts of Ohio, it just mattered, how could you bring about that base? Could you bring the white collar workers out? Could you bring the evangelical Christians out to vote, as they did for George Bush, twice or whatever? So it's going to be fascinating to watch what happens in these 7 counties and a few others, but these are the main ones. And we're just going to have to, like I said, as they're saying, the Trump campaign also needs to look at these as well and say, where can we target? Is there a way that we can siphon off some votes? Or if not siphon off, how do we determine what our strategy is going to be is as we go into these counties to try to basically tell the people, look, you had your choice with Joe Biden. Now take a chance with us. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. You know what to do. Hit that notification bell. Check out our videos here and here. I'll leave with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.